What is going on? Welcome to not Ryan anymore, just Brian and Nick Talk Sports. As always, we appreciate our sponsors, Pigget Sports and Sleeper Picks. Nick, I think this would be a good show. Obviously, it sucks to not have Ryan, but it makes us have a shorter, more condensed, less nonsense where I don't have to ridicule Ryan. I mean, that's really what I think most of our time on this show gets spent on just me and Ryan going back and forth with stupid ass stuff we have to do. So we should have a good show today.
You think he's scared about the Scotty Barnes stuff? Is that why he didn't come back?
So yeah, I mean, that was last week. Was it feels
Feels
like
like
I
a month
blocked
ago.
out that it feels like it's been like 3 or 4 weeks.
Yeah.
That's crazy that it was last week, right? Where we all were on Scotty Barnes and he decided to just, you know, not do anything. And he did the worst thing possible where if you're gonna lose a bet, I'd almost rather look at halftime, be like, oh, I need 13 RA. He's at 3. I check back in like 5 minutes later. I'm like, oh yeah, this is dead. But he had to run the third quarter where he was
Yeah, he
diving and
did.
getting every board. And I'm like, shit, now I just need 2 in the fourth. And that's totally possible. And he just did not come through.
Yep, he had a massive game last night too, so at least we don't have to
Yeah.
worry about him playing tonight.
That's good. Yeah, that's very nice. But your Bucks are playing tonight, so that's always fun. It's so funny to think that we really have transitioned from trying to not trust people too much on Milwaukee in terms of over props, and now I'm just going all in for it because Milwaukee's defense has been really bad.
They're really they just been out. I mean, their game against the Mavericks, they gave up 35 to Luka, 39 to Kyrie, but Giannis had 40 and Dame had 27. So they're just gonna
Yeah,
have to outscore people, I guess.
we kind of
I mean,
said it
Giannis
before.
has been unstoppable if he wants to be lately.
We kind of said it before the season even started. I think that without that hammer of Drew Holiday, they really have they really have been having issues trying to run the same defense that they've always
Right.
had without being able
Especially
to do it.
any guards that can score really give them a problem too.
Yeah, our number one guy, Ginger Snap, said in the chat, it's make or break for Jordan Poole today, and we'll get to that. But as always, I know Tone Stamp is very like dictator level stressing about the ticker, and we talked a little bit too much about NBA there, so we're gonna go with NFL first. And I honestly think we should, not just because I'm wearing my Eagles gear. Shout out to Wawa. We've been trying to have them sponsor it, but I just got this new like hat for Jalen Hurts with the Wawa logo. It's pretty sick. It's going to be a good game, you would hope, you would think, and then you look at the weather. So my first thing with this game is what is it, 15 to 20-mile-an-hour winds. It's been raining since last night, since like yesterday morning. I hear it's supposed to lighten up by game time, but it's gonna be a wet field, wet conditions, and it should still be lightly raining. That to me is so worrisome when you want to have this big offensive exciting game and then you see a weather report like that just really hinders a lot of things you hope would happen.
Yeah, I heard something. It was a couple weeks ago. I forgot who. It was some football player on a podcast. I can't remember. I think it was on Bill Simmons, but I can't remember the player. And they were talking about just the impact um, that rain has on a game. And they were saying it's not as bad as you think for like the offense because they know what they're doing. It's the defense you
Yeah.
have to watch out for because the offense knows the play, the
Yeah.
defense doesn't. So they said as long as it's not like terrible footing stuff, the rain's not that big of a deal.
Yeah.
Um,
I
but
think
it just
I
depends
think so.
how wet it is.
Yeah, so how many plays do you have on this game?
I have one, and then you're gonna help me finish my second one.
Perfect. I like that a lot, but I'm going to go right in with mine because it has stuff to do with the rain, but also not. My favorite play in this game, which is a little, you know, upsetting because, as you know, Dallas Goddard is no longer in this game, which is tragic for someone like me that bets on him every single day. But without him, it does two things. It takes away a receiver. The Eagles do not have a receiving tight end outside of Dallas Goddard. I mean, it's like Jack Stoll. Like it's they don't have that other guy, but
Right.
that's what it is. Their tight ends are all blocking and run blocking tight ends. You see this a lot with the Eagles when they don't have Dallas Goedert out there. They run a lot of two or one tight end sets, and it's almost a telltale sign that they're not throwing the football without 88 out there. But that's less what it has to do with it, and more of just you factor that in. You factor in the fact they're going against Patrick Mahomes and the Chiefs. You have to assume that this Eagles offense tries whatever they can to hang on to the football and almost win by just having the football as much as possible. So I do. Someone said, "What is Swift's reception line at?" His yards at 17 and a half. I gave it a big look, but I actually ended up going with the over 77 and a half rushing slash receiving yards for DeAndre Swift. And I love it. I think it was really tough for me to go with the rushing or the receiving line because I think I like both of them so much. The Chiefs are giving up 6.4 yards per carry as a whole. So there's no reason he shouldn't get fed, whether it's 15, 16, 17 carries or if it's the receiving line. I think by going with the combo, you kind of get protected by both game scripts. If it stays neutral like it should, you get both. If the Eagles get up to a lead, you get the rushing
Right.
aspect of it. Or if they fall down, he's still going to be used in the passing game. So I just think it gives you a lot of outs by doing both of those in the one play with the combo line.
Yeah, I like that look because I was looking at Swift to somehow ladder him for receiving, but I just couldn't. But I like adding the rushing to that. That makes a lot more sense that way.
Man, Sam is roasting me in the chat, and Sam does all the TikTok plays, and he sounds like the what's that guy from the gingerbread man from Shrek? He kind of sounds like that. So I think it's a little weird that we're going to get roasted here, but I think it's a good play. I think it's like I said, if I like both props for one player and you get the combo line pretty low, 77 and a half is low. DraftKings, MGM, all of them have Swift at 81 and a half. So I think getting under 80 is really nice. It's a great matchup for the rushing aspect of it. And he's a guy that he's always hovering. He hasn't hit this line in 4 games, but he's always like 74, 75, even like 58 to 100, like whatever it is. He's always just around that. So I feel like he's always due for a big play. And the last thing I would want is to bet one or the other and watch him break off like a 50-yard run or a 40-yard catch and not have stock in either one. If you have the combo, that big play is going to help you no matter how he gets it.
Yeah, for sure. He I, the Chiefs didn't give up a ton to running backs out of the backfield, but like you said, the rushing aspect and them trying to keep the ball out of Mahomes' hands, I think plays a
It's
huge
weird
role in that.
because every running back against them always seems to be okay. Like they don't really seem to give up
Right,
those like 50, 60-yard stat lines. But if you look at it, it's like McLaughlin at 16, like this guy had 31. Like they don't seem
right.
to give up that big play, but they should be able to. I don't think
It
I'm
gi
like
it
I,
gives
I
you
don't
enough
think
to add on to the
I
rushing
don't
for
know if
sure.
there's a world where I'm going to regret not doing the 58 and a half where he gets like 61 rushing yards and 4 receiving yards.
Right,
So I
right,
think I think
right,
the receiving aspect will give me at least 10 yards. So I
right.
can get
Yep,
10 yards and get in that 70 rushing yard type of
yep.
honestly, hopefully I just hope he gets like a 75 yard play on the first play of the game. That would be ideal. That'd be sweet. 75 yards first play, and then the rest of the game he gets like one total all-purpose yard. So I end up losing by one or something of that. That would be more my speed.
Yeah, it might not be so well for your
Ginger
team there if
Snap
that
said it
happens.
moved to 78 and a half. I do like that. I think anything under 80 is fine. I actually don't even hate it at 81 and a half. I just think that FanDuel's a few yards off where I think it should be.
Sounds good. My first play, um, super chalky, but taking a different approach on it. Travis Kelsey, 40 receiving yards in each half, plus 250. I'll take the bait on it. He had a
Are you
terrible
worried that
game.
Taylor Swift is not supposed to be in attendance anymore? That you got to cap that in now. She
I
was
mean,
going to be in there, and now she's not going to be there. I'm pretty
what
sure.
changes the line by what 36 and a half yards probably?
I don't know. I'm just saying, like, I think that there's real things where, he's expecting this big game out of him. He wants his girlfriend to be there. She bails on him. I mean, I don't know.
But he terrible game before the bye. I think he has a big game coming out. I think they get him the ball um across the middle for sure. The question I had for you is I'm trying to figure out how to ladder him, and I want to use either an alt line or um money line or what do you think as far as how do you think this game goes?
I think it'll be close. Like the game itself. I think it'll be a really close game. I think that 2.5 spread is it's like pretty accurate, right? Like, do you see either of these teams having a huge advantage of the other? I mean, you watch it's different in the Super Bowl actually, like but same matchup. I do think it will be a close back and forth. I don't know if either team is going to be able to not match offensively. Like I don't know if I see two or three unanswered scores one way or the other. And realistically, if the game's within 10, offense aren't going to abandon anything in their offense. So
Right.
even
You
if,
more
and if you know the Chiefs, they could be up 14, 16, 17, and they still will throw the football a lot. So I don't think there's any worry in terms of game script for you there.
Are you more confident in like Eagles plus 7.5 or like a Chiefs plus 3.5?
I will say on my risk on my like boosted parlay, uh, I did have the Eagles plus 10.5, but I don't know. I think it will stay within. I think you can't go wrong with either one. I do think the underdog aspect could be more helpful just because 7 is just a lot more to give than 3.
Right.
I'm
So
actually looking this up right now.
I'm gonna try to figure out how to do something with that. To try, I want to use his like, I don't know if it was 50 yards receiving that it worked with, but I want to do something with that. I
I just really like, I wanted to point this out because like someone in the chat did say she'll be there today. I don't know why. I don't want to spend all this on Taylor Swift, but I just looked it up too. I think I was correct. I don't. She's not expected to be there. If you were unaware, there was a whole situation with her concert where I think one of the fans before the Friday or Saturday show unfortunately passed away, and then all the concerts got pushed 24 hours back. So rather than having like a Friday, Saturday, Sunday show, she has Sunday, Monday. So I don't believe she's going to be there. I just know I get Taylor Swift updates from my girlfriend that is somehow some way, like I guess you call them a Swifty. So I have to be peppered with Taylor Swift news
so
outside of the
you're like
media.
indirectly a Swifty.
No,
No,
no. I tried to get her tickets last year for Christmas, and then I saw they were like $1,200 a ticket, and I said we're going to New York for the weekend for the same price. We're not doing that shit. Uh, but I just want to get that out there because there is some real people out there that have been tracking him. Travis Kelsey's nothing without Taylor Swift, so it'll be interesting to see if he breaks the mold for you today.
let's hope so. Um, that's that's all I had as far as picks for the game tonight. Like you said before, it's like these are the games you kind of like to watch instead of having 6 different picks attached to it.
Yeah, that's fair. I get really into the games. It's really a problem, but I did I did use the FanDuel. Did you when you said you want me to help you out with one of your plays? Was it the boosted thing on FanDuel where that plus 400, or is it just
It was just
in
I was just
general?
looking for something to add to his 50 receiving yards. So I didn't know which one of those you like better. It
I
wasn't
think
no
I
boost
mean
involved.
I do think the Travis Kelsey is one of those things where the Eagles are fake good in the secondary. They have all these big names, but all year they've been getting trashed over the middle of the field and on the in between the numbers. So Kelsey should absolutely have a big game. I think laddering him is not a bad move at all. But I wanted to point out that I'm a little disappointed that your play is not what I thought it might have been. I thought you'd be the guy after your big Justin Fields win. I thought maybe you would have laddered Patrick Mahomes' rushing yards. I think Patrick Mahomes' rushing yards is actually a really good look, and I did put it into my FanDuel plus 400, 30% boost, whatever you call it. The legs there is I did go with Swift 50 plus rushing yards, Patrick Mahomes 25 plus rushing yards, AJ Brown 6 receptions, and the Eagles plus 10.5. I think as much as AJ Brown is a big play threat, he catches the ball at every single level. So I did end up going with his receptions over yards, just because they're even if it's the worst conditions possible and it's a monsoon, you can't throw the ball at all. AJ Brown gets so much target. Like he's so good.
Yeah.
Like he's just such a dynamic player, whether it's in intermediate game, behind the line of scrimmage, 20 yards on the field, 30 or whatever it is. So I do feel comfortable with him getting the volume there. And like I said earlier, when we were talking about the spreads of the game, plus 10.5 feels safe. Don't worry about the Eagles jersey on my body. I'm not trying to be biased. I just think it's going to be close. I'm not even confident in the Eagles winning this game, but I do think I'd be surprised if it's a 14-point loss either one way or the other.
Speaking of rushing, what are your thoughts on how much do you think Hurts runs?
It's crazy that his rush yards are like what 36, 37.5, but his
37.5 right now.
but his his attempts are all over Twitter where it's 8.5.
Hmm.
Oh, because it's magical. That Hurts rushing attempt line is so funny because he can have 9 attempts and only have 1 scramble. Between kneels at the half, kneels in the game, the tush push
Right.
primarily,
Yeah, that's
I
what
just think it's so tough because if you watch, I know it was 3 or 4 weeks ago, that Washington game, he ran on the first possession and he looked like an old man trying to get back to the huddle. Like that knee is not healthy. So my biggest thing with him is after a full 2 weeks off with the bye week and he looked a little bit more mobile in the Cowboys game. It's just so tough for me to fully buy into how healthy he is because it's
yeah,
hard to
like
gauge over a bye week. Like sometimes some people come out of the bye week and it's like, wow, they look super refreshed, they look super good. But sometimes it's like, oh, that's an injury that's not just magically healed over 2 weeks. But I do think he'll look a little bit more spry. I just
he hasn't had, like, the many long runs. He's had 10 for 36 with a long of 6, 4 for 6, long of 7, 8 for 47, long of 11. His longest run this year is 17 yards.
yeah. I
It's
mean,
not
the big part of that is he that like I said, that knee has been an issue. So
right.
I wish does anyone know I guess I guess my question here is I know like probably Bet365 or other books I don't have access to, but I don't have any books that I know of that you can parlay, say, 8 rush attempts with 30 yards, because that's how I
Yeah,
would play them if I'm able to. But I don't know if there is many,
you can do
is
that with.
many like books that do that, right? I think DraftKings changed their whole algorithm. They kind of suck now with that. But I would love to do that in a certain kind of way that you can avoid the hook with 8.5 with that rushing yards. But I do think it's tough to buy into that 37.5 where you just don't know because both his knees are just kind of been problematic all year. So
Yep,
the rushing attempts feels more safe with him with all the tush pushes and whatnot in that offense.
right. Yeah. I mean, I'll probably take a look at Mahomes, but yeah, I wasn't super high on Hurts rushing,
Yeah.
but
Patrick Mahomes, he can scramble, and if the Eagles secondary can hold their coverage for say 3 or 4 seconds, maybe like, I guess 2 or 3 seconds, they just can't let him roll out and hit the big play. Like
right.
that defensive line is so good, and they're so good at getting pressure that if leaves the pocket, as long as there's coverage held for that 2 or 3 second mark, precious time after he leaves the pocket, he'll take off. He has no issue taking off. So I do think as long as he's not hitting those 60-yard Hail Marys while falling down 360 no scope, like, I think he'll have a good day on the ground.
Definitely.
Do you have anything
Um,
else that you want to cover in this game? I think someone mentioned earlier about Rice, Rasheed Rice. I don't know. Do you have any thoughts on him?
I don't know, man. He's tough because I mean, I know a lot of people are on he's kind of touchdown dependent sometimes, but I don't
Yeah.
know how they're gonna. You'd probably know better than me how they're gonna match up against Kelsey and if that's gonna open up anything for Rice. But I don't know. I stayed away from him.
Someone in the YouTube chat says that Brian versus Buff, my wife loves you. That's so crazy because my own family and significant other doesn't love me. So that's that's weird to hear. I think that might be my mom's burner. I'm not sure. I did talk to her on the phone today, and she said maybe she'll tune in
She said
with
something about
one
signing
of her
up and
6
watching the show.
accounts. Yeah, we have no real viewers in the show. It's all my family and their burner accounts. So I appreciate that. Yeah, I think in this game, this is such a cop out when you talk about the Kansas City Chiefs. Outside of Isaiah Pacheco, who I think has a pretty established role, and Travis Kelsey, who has a really established role, I really hate taking a lot of the Kansas City offense because you can give Patrick Mahomes us three as his top 3 receivers, and he'll probably find a way to utilize one of us in a game and have a big day. It's just so hard to decide what receiver on a given day for
Right.
that offense.
There's no consistency out of
And it's
receivers in
good.
this
It's
game.
good football. So I think
Right.
sports betting sometimes ruins how people watch sports because they're like, "Oh, fuck the Chiefs," like this, that. It's
Right.
awesome to watch, and I just save myself the headache by trying to figure out that offense in terms of betting angles.
It's so yeah,
'Cause
you're right. I mean, it could be Valdez Scantling could have 3 catches for 150 yards tonight. Like you said,
yeah,
it's so you
he's such
don't
a
know.
big play threat, and it's even harder that a lot of their if you look at the Pro Football Stats or whatever, a lot of their expected yards that comes through comes from those scrambles, and it's hard to bet on a team that is so good at coming back to the football and so good at like extending plays because it doesn't matter who the first read is. After you're out of the pocket and you're heaving the ball downfield, who knows? Like who knows who gets open or who comes back to the ball? Like Andy Reid could catch a pass today. It could be a wild game. Like who knows with this team? So I just find it very hard that to put money harder money on a the wide receiver core for this team. I'll read them off though. Sky Moore is 16 and a half. Justin Watson is 26 and a half. Noah Gray 14 and a half. I don't hate that. And Tony is 6.5, which is that's honestly the most tempting one because maybe he can accidentally catch a pass. Like who knows?
Accidentally is the key word there.
Rashid Rice is 46 and a half. Isaiah Pacheco is 16 and a half. Valdez Scantling is 18 and a half. So it really is too high line with Kelsey and Rice, and then the rest are under 20. That is a nightmare to try to figure out.
Yep.
Yeah, so someone said, "Man, their lines are so low." I love it. Yeah, you love it, but you also hate it because when Kadarius Toney goes 2 catches for -3 yards, you're gonna be breaking the TV. I do see that Jack Stoll on FanDuel is 9.5. I actually don't even hate the under there, but I will never take it because that's just one random play where he leaks out for a route. I just don't know how much route participation he will have in this game because if you watch him try to run routes, it looks like a gazelle got shot in the leg. It's not super appealing. So
Have
I
you ever
wonder if
seen going through these receiving yards, have you ever seen a game with this many players under 20 yards? Is there a
no.
line?
We'll end it here because I don't want to get too much. Like I want to save some time for the big NBA slate. But out of all these low lines, which one? Out of if both teams, which one would you, if you had to put $100 on or a unit
I
on,
mean,
gun to your head?
I
I
feel
want
like
to see if you a line.
it has to
I
be
want to see if we.
Tony.
Re-
It has to be.
I'm including both teams. So both teams are going to go take Tony, Eagles or Chiefs.
Eagles or anybody under 20, you said?
No, just anybody like anyone under. How about anyone that's not AJ Brown, Smith, and Kelsey?
Oh, shoot.
I want to see if we align because there's
I'll
only
probably
one
still
guy I
take
think
Tony. I'm taking Tony still. That's one
Tony.
catch.
I think the only guy I take a chance off is Julio Jones 10.5. You got to think with Dallas Goddard out, he might play that
Tight
inside
end.
slot / tight end role. I don't. It's not fun, but Julio Jones, he has that one touchdown for the Eagles. That was cool. I think maybe he gets two targets, maybe a target, but I just don't see Jack Stoll coming in and being that guy. So Tony Garcia said Gainwell. Yeah, Gainwell's probably going to have like 73 receiving yards today because I'm on DeAndre Swift, and I'm going to lose my shit. He's going to have like 3 fumbles and still be out there catching the passes. So Nick, before we go to NBA, if you're new to the show, we started last week. We started doing first touchdown scores, and we're trying to track who can have the best record or units won in first touchdown scores. It's almost a combination of fun things to do, and it's a combination of kind of showing that it's a really tough market. The value is not really there, et cetera, et cetera. But Ryan is not here. So, Tone, can you give us Ryan's pick first? Because I think that's the easiest way to do it. So that way no
And
one
if it's
picks
one of
his
ours, we'll
line.
just change his.
Yeah. I think he's up first anyway, right? Or no, is he not?
Okay, there we go. I'm coming through now. Yeah. Ryan's up first. We'll go with Ryan. Ryan's pick is Devonta Smith,
Okay.
and I
All right.
believe first
That's
touchdown
what I had
for
written down.
Devonta Smith. I have at least on DraftKings. I have it 14-1. So, who's next?
We'll go Tone next.
Okay. I went chalky last week, and of course
I
that
went chalky
failed.
too, and I didn't win.
Yeah, I guess that's the whole point of this experiment, right?
I went Samaje Perine 50-1, and I can't believe I lost.
Who did I go with last
Oh,
week? I just
Can
know
we
I
take
went
a time
chalk.
out? And I want to do a sidebar here with Nick. Did you watch the game last night? Samaje Perine is that dude. I'm so mad. I
He was
didn't
getting
bet his
fed.
receiving yards again. Like,
Yep.
what do you think it is next week? He is catching passes at like a crazy rate, and he's so much better than anybody else in that backfield in the receiving game. I
Right.
watched. There was one play where Devontae Williams was in coverage because I bet Williams was under, and I was sweating that because he had 16. He was in coverage one play. Like, I mean, it was in pass protection, and he just completely misread the block. And then Samaje Perine played like the rest of the game because it was like,
Yep.
dude, what the hell are you doing?
Yeah.
But I want to
What
point
he
that
was
out.
signed for?
Samaje Perine. What?
That's what he was signed for. That's what he did. That's
Oh,
what
I know.
he
I
excelled with
love
the
Samaje
Bengals last
Perine.
year.
No, I love the guy, but I'm just saying
I don't know why
it's
it took so
crazy
long.
how much better he is in the backfield than anybody else in the passing game.
Yeah. So, who did I go with last week, Brian? Do you have it written down?
I don't have it in front of me, but
Okay. I know I went chalky. I don't necessarily remember who it was, but you know, it almost feels like with these offenses, it can be really the first touchdown can just be determined with the coin flip at the beginning of the game and who's getting the ball. But I'm gonna go with you know, I'll say it's gonna be. I kind of feel like going crazy. Give me MVS. I like MVS,
okay.
man.
All right. I don't hate that. Is that whose phone is that? Is that your phone?
I think that's yours, Brian.
It's not mine.
It's certainly not
That's not my
mine.
ring. Oh man.
But I like
Wait, someone
MVS.
said Herb Ryan. Someone said in the chat that the Herb Ryan's voice when I was looking at that's now took P Ryan's receiving over. Yeah, I think I might just keep betting it. I hate to be that guy, but he's hit it every single week, and he's so fun. I actually wish I took P Ryan's over and Williams' under. I was between the two, and I went with the under, and I really wish I played both and parlayed them and put 40 units on it. But I do think it was good too. So we have Smith.
Yep.
And I'm gonna shop
and-
the odds using the Pickett Sports app. Pickett Smith is plus 1400, and you said MVS, who's not gonna score, and he is
Shoot for the stars.
He is 30-1, so you get 30
Okay.
to 1 on that on MGM. It's not me. Who is it? Is it you, Nick?
I don't know.
It is. Nick.
It
It is.
Damn it, Nick. We told you to silence the phone before we came out here. And because I like
It is.
Nick,
I think it's going to my laptop.
I think because I like Nick, I'm gonna give you the third pick here, and I'll take the last pick, and I'll still win.
I'm going with Mahomes.
That's
Mark
a good
it
one.
down.
What's his odds are 20-1. So this is a week where I have the chance to go chalky, and I'm really upset because I think I like Hurts. Nick, Jesus, man, what?
I have no idea what keeps happening here.
This is really annoying, but I'm gonna go. Jalen Hurts plus 800. It's really obnoxious, but if you watch our show at noon, I've talked about this before with Nick, well, not with Nick, with Will and all those guys, that a lot of Jalen Hurts' touchdowns are usually the first of the team. So at 8-1, I'll take the chalky pick and just hope there's a flag or a guy gets down at the 1 or something happens and we see a tush push from Jalen Hurts. I'll take Hurts 8-1. Let me see here. Just gonna write this down because and then I'll put it in the sheet later. So 2 quarterbacks, yeah. And then let me just see. Tone. So to recap, Ryan Props took 14-1 on Devonta Smith. First touchdown. Tone Stamp, our producer, took MVS 30-1. Nick took Patrick Mahomes 20-1. I took 8-1. Jalen Hurts. So we're gonna go chalky tonight and hope I actually win one. Do you have anything else to add on this NFL game that should be awesome? But if not, let's go to the NBA games because we spent a lot of time on that, but I think we covered a lot between the chat and our plays and what we think is going to happen. How many plays do you have for the NBA slate, Nick?
2.
2? I have 1, so you go first.
All right. I have the 2 for 20, which have hit 6 in a row of these now. So trying to make it 7 tonight. Anthony Edwards and Domantas Sabonis each to score 20 plus 111. Edwards has hit 20 in all but 2 games, I believe, this year. And then Sabonis has just been on an absolute tear lately. His last 4 games, he's had 23, 29, 27, and 32. So I like his matchup against Pelicans and Valanciunas, and then kind of bounce back for Edwards here against the Knicks. Um, so both those guys to score 20 points plus 111. I'm not sure what it is now. The best odds were on FanDuel last I looked.
Yeah, I like that. I think it's a good look. I actually looked at Sabonis for his 12.5 rebound prop. He's just getting so many good opportunities
Yeah,
at
speaking of that,
rebounds.
his last 3 games has had 16, 14, 13. So he's been
Yeah,
killing
he's
the
just been
rebound.
good. I just have this weird phobia on rebounds, and I love betting on rebounds, but I'm gonna have to wait another week after I took Rudy Gobert that one game where he had 12 after 3 quarters, and then he ended with 11. This whole thing, it kind of pissed me off, but I really like Sabonis over 12.5 rebounds today. It's a high line, but he's playing a lot of minutes, and he really is the only guy on that team that consistently gets to the glass, and a team that plays at such a high pace that there's always rebounds to be had for him. So I do like that. I think it's a good look. The one play I'm going to take, and let me double check. I did post it on Twitter and on in the Discord earlier because I knew this was going to happen. So if you're looking, I'm just going to check and make sure the odds are semi-playable. I did take Jason Tatum over 26.5 points. A lot of smart people that I talk to are on it, and that doesn't really scare me off. The best odds are -125 now on MGM or ESPN Bet, which is weird to say, but ESPN Bet is a new thing. I like Jason Tatum a lot. So I think people are always worried when they bet on these sports, and they're worried in the NBA these blowouts is happening. So 8.5 spread, blowout this, blowout that. I get blowouts are a big thing, but to blow out a team out,
Got to score
you need to
points.
score a lot of points.
Yeah.
And Jason Tatum is my favorite guy to bet on in terms of games with higher spreads, just because if you watch the rotations, he always gets that fourth quarter rotation. He usually starts the fourth. Brown plays a lot of the third. He plays a lot of the third, but he usually gets that rotation in the fourth. So I do think Tatum, 27 points. I used the Pickett screenshot there to show some of the odds. It was good. -10 earlier when I posted it. Still like it at -125, but yeah, he's 8-13 on this over. And last year, I know you can't use stats against a team from the season before, but he destroyed this Hornets team last year. You're talking 51 points, 41 points, 33, and 36, I believe. You can't tell me that NBA players don't see awful teams and say, you know what? My points per game are 26.9. I can bump that to 25 to 27.5 with this game tonight when I drop 40. You want to pad your stats in a way against teams that are just so bad defensively. They allow 52 points in the paint, a total of 123 points a game. I just think last night he took like what 13 shots, 7 shots. It was something horrendous. He wasn't really aggressive against this team. I think he's gonna be aggressive. It's gonna be faster pace. I think he might score 30 in 3 quarters.
Yeah.
I think it's a good. If it wasn't such a quote unquote ladder spot, but there's no Horford, there's no White, so I do think
Right.
it should say a little bit closer. But if there wasn't that worry, I would even consider a ladder to 35 plus points. I think he's gonna have a great game.
Yeah, I like him a lot. I had him on my list as well. I just didn't take it, and I saw that you
Ryan Prompts
posted
is
it.
also on it, so it might be best that you don't take it, and I'll
Yeah,
just
I'm
demo you
staying
like
away.
$20 to not take it.
Yeah, I'll look out for you here. Kind of going off what you just said about Horford and White being out, kind of
Oh,
goes into
can
my
I
next.
guess? Is it Holiday RA? No.
He's involved. It's the Wendy's 4 for 4, but he's in it.
Oh, okay. Yeah, of
Um,
course.
so Holiday 4 rebounds, should be a smash spot for him there. He's been racking up rebounds lately. Cunningham 4 assists. I think he's hit that every game this season. Daniel Gafford 4 rebounds. Pretty sure he's hit that every game this season. And then the great value brand of Jokic Sengun 4 assists is the 4 for 4. It's right around even money on FanDuel.
I like that. So, Nick, my question to you is: if you had to take a straight bet in this, like not the 4 for 4, nothing like that, like just a straight line on this slate, what is your favorite prop of this? What 8 game slate, 7 game slate, eight?
Straight bet.
Yeah, like if you had to take one.
I like Cunningham assists, and I like Holidays, RAs, like you said, if I were to take a straight.
All right. Okay. I'm looking. I'm trying to look into something fun for us to have good content later on. Right now, Tatum 25 points, Sabonis 12 rebounds, and Cade Cunningham 6 assists is plus 304. It's
I
not a
like
bad
that.
price.
Let me double check Cunningham quick.
I can check other books after the show, but I want to like have something that maybe we can throw something on.
Yeah,
And
he didn't have a very good game because they got blown out last night, but he only played 27 minutes.
yeah, Tone, do you
Prior
want
to
to get in
I
on
like
this?
his
Tone? What is
I
your
like his,
favorite?
I
Your
like
favorites?
Cunningham.
Do you have any input on this? Do you want to
Oh,
get in on
you do
something for the
not want
show?
you do not want my NBA input. It is dog
Okay,
shit.
that's fair.
Any other sport I got you, NBA, it's probably my worst sport.
That's fair. If anything, maybe I can text Ryan and see if he likes anything to kind of round it out. But I do think even 3-1 is not a bad thing to throw together and put in the Discord as like a. I guess
Right.
the cool kids call it a collab. I forget what they call it, but I
I
do
think that's
think
what they do.
I
Yeah.
do think Tatum 25, Sabonis 12 rebounds, Cade Cunningham 6 assists could be a fun ride. Throw a quarter unit on it, maybe you win 0.75 unit, return a unit. Not
I'll
a
do my
bad look.
research for next week.
Yeah, okay,
There you go.
that's fair.
Unless you want me to throw in an NHL play in there.
I was gonna ask, but then people will be pissed off. If I put my channel on NHL leg, no one's gonna believe I know anything about it.
And
So
they'll run away from it.
honestly, what is let me see, what's Drew Holiday like all for like I guess his assists have been so weird, but if Tatum's just scoring, what's Drew Holiday is 6.5 for his assists. So if you take that down to say 5, never mind. It's plus 380. I thought it'd be plus
Even
400.
his rebounds are super juiced at 6.5. They're 6.5. That's
Yeah,
high.
that's annoying. I think the 3-1 is the way to go and not try to
Yeah,
overcomplicate it and get to the point where we hate ourselves later because we
right.
added that
Trying to
one
force
random
something. Yeah,
we added that one random Jordan Poole 8 points and it. What are your thoughts on Jordan Poole today? I think he is the Twitter famous. Like a lot of people on Twitter are taking Jordan Poole today for good reason. I mean, the Bucks we talked about before.
they can't
They
guard
cannot
guards.
guard
So.
shit. Do you know on the top of your head? Do you know the over under in this game?
Do I know what it is?
Yeah. Can you
I
guess
haven't
it?
looked. I'll guess.
Yeah. Can't look.
246.
Damn. Yeah. 246 on the
Is it
money
really?
on on FanDuel.
Wow.
Yeah. I think that's a good guess. I think that is a crazy amount of points though.
Yeah.
It
Somebody's
is
got to
one
score
thing.
'em.
It is one thing to score 250 points in an NBA game, but to have that as the set line is crazy. I think
What's
Jordan
Kuzma?
Poole. What
Kuzma's going to score more than 21.5. I can tell you that too.
should we add Kuzma into this?
I mean, you
Is
can.
that?
They don't.
I'm not even gonna blame you if it doesn't hit, but that was the most confident thing I've heard you say all day.
Hey, the Bucks are bad at defense.
Okay, so if you add Kuzma 20 plus points, this is now plus 530, and that's so attractive to throw like $20 on and get over a unit back. Am I wrong?
Yeah,
That's a good looking play
just
there.
trying
I
to think
think
who they're going to have guarding Kuzma.
it won't be Giannis, right? I mean, I don't think Giannis.
Maybe Middleton, but Middleton's minutes are so limited.
Yeah, they lost Beasley. Like they don't really have.
I don't know who they put on him. Connington maybe
is
a little bit.
Beasley going to be the guy that does that? I don't.
Usually they have him on like guard though. They usually
They don't really have someone to stack up with
it'll
them.
probably be Middleton to start the game, and then maybe Portis when he comes in for a little. I don't know.
The problem with people liking Jordan Poole in this game is that his line's low, his matchup is stellar, but it's Jordan Poole, and he's been so bad this year, so it's so hard to really trust that. So I do like. I'll use Picket Sports after this show is over, and we'll see if we can throw that together and maybe post it in our channels as like a fun sprinkle from the show.
Yeah,
and make
sounds good.
honestly, it'd be good because it'll make Ryan feel left out, and I think that
Right,
is the
yeah.
important part of this whole thing, is to make Ryan feel like he missed out on such a fun time. And I'm gonna kick it over to the Picket app because we're gonna do the Picket popular plays, and then we can head out.
Sounds good. I'm
I
guessing
really
a lot of Chiefs Eagles players.
Is it going to be I'm going to guess. I'm not there yet. I want to guess it's probably Hurts is one or
I'm gonna,
two.
I'm gonna guess
Hurts,
Kelsey 1 or 2.
yeah. I think his rushing attempts is so heavily bet, which it should be, but still.
I'll go
All right.
Kelsey anytime touchdown is my number one pick.
So it is Jalen Hurts is 1, AJ Brown is 2, and Kelsey is 3. Jalen Hurts has almost 21,000 bets on him. That is crazy. Is it his rushing attempts? Is
It's
that is that
insane.
is that really what it is though, or is it a touchdown
It's
first?
got a horse is touchdown.
People love to bet touchdowns, but I'm gonna pull that up because
They do.
that is a crazy amount of bet. It's almost double anything else in this game. I don't know about you, but
Yeah, it's insane.
mine's not really loading as well as I wanted it to.
The one I have
I'm
on
not
screen
sure.
isn't loading as well either.
Well, Nick broke it. So
Yeah,
long story short, Jalen Hurts, whether it's touchdown or his rushing attempts, this is one where you can bring your tinfoil hat in and say like, oh, the NFL is rigged or this, that, or the other. I do not see a world where he doesn't get 9 attempts based off just the tush push. And you have to remember, he doesn't have to run for 40 yards or break a big play. Those
right.
scrambles count when you just like, ballerina your way out of the pocket and just like take a 1 yard gain and you run out of bounds like that. They all count. So I do think that combined with the tush push, which if the Eagles are inside the 5 yard line, there's a good chance Jalen Hurts scores if they just run that 2 or 3 times.
Right.
So
Yep.
I don't think that's a bad look at all. I think if you can get anything like even like that might be the only touchdown prop I'll play that's like -115 or -120 or whatever it is because it's just such a high likelihood to happen. 2, AJ Brown. If you're unaware, AJ Brown already has over 1,000 yards in 9 games this year.
Is
I
that good?
don't think I don't think there's any reason to hate the fact that AJ Brown might just go off. Like he is always just in that realm of players where I think maybe a few years ago he was always like, oh, he's so talented, his numbers are kind of scattered. Can he stay healthy? This, that, the other. At this point in his career, he's just that good. I mean, he's in the right offense for him. He creates separation. He finds his way around the field. I think I saw his over under was 80.5. I almost bet it. I went with Swift just because of the weather conditions, but I have no animosity for if you're going to bet on AJ Brown today.
Right. Yeah, I don't mind that either.
And then Nick, we already covered this. Travis Kelsey, Taylor Swift or not in the audience, he has a great matchup.
Yep.
And I am going to use my bias here. I said earlier, I just don't know if the Chiefs are the team that will go up and stay up the entire game. We saw it in Germany. They were up 21-0 against the Dolphins, and they just they didn't almost lose that game, but there was times where it felt like, holy shit, are the Chiefs going to lose this game?
They
They
like to
turned the
play.
ball
They like to
over.
play with their food.
Yeah, like they turned the ball over. They refused to run the football with one of the running backs in this league that I absolutely love watching Isaiah Pacheco run. I don't know why he's not getting 16 carries a game because Andy Reid, as good as a coach he is, he forgets that you can run the football in the NFL. Now you don't have to just bank on your future Hall of Fame quarterback to throw the ball 50, 60 times. But Pickett
Right.
is loading up now. Travis Kelsey, his most bet play is -115 on the touchdown prop. So we said it before, people love to bet touchdowns. And
Yep.
then I think a lot of people are laddering his yards. I'm seeing a lot of 50-yard plus, 60-yard plus, 70-yard plus.
I think he's in a
So
boost. He's in a FanDuel boost, I think. So that
yeah,
could be
for 50
why.
yards, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
So that makes a lot of sense. And then Jalen Hurts, his most bet is his rushing attempts. That is
Yeah.
crazy. That's what I was thinking. He surpassed that rushing attempts over the touchdown. And I'm going to tell you right here, right now, this is just me being an Eagles fan. His best odds for touchdown is +120 on FanDuel. I'm likely going to throw $25 on it as a fan just to watch because I think it's a good look. I think you get into that channel, you get into the red zone. I mean, he's
Yeah. The
always the
ball's gonna
most
be in his
likely
hands.
person.
Yep.
I mean, if you're a DeAndre Swift fantasy owner, you must hate this guy because you
Yeah.
almost don't get a chance.
You don't want the
Shout
ball
out,
inside the 5.
shout out to Pickett Sports for exposing it, but shout out to Caesar Sportsbook. Right now, Jalen Hurts' touchdown odds are +120, +105, even money +110. Caesars is like minus 125 right now. They just always seem to have the worst odds for touchdown scorers, which is a little bit annoying because I think touchdown scoring is like the most volatile market out there. I don't know why you would want to be the one book that no one wants to play touchdowns on. It seems like
Right.
something you would
Because
want
everybody
people to play
loves to
touchdowns
play them
on.
too. Yeah.
Yeah, but I think that wraps up the show. I think we covered a lot.
Do you want to
King's
recap?
A said Eagles money line. Love that. If you can't tell, big Eagles fan here. Going to be heading into the city right after this show. Do you want to recap your plays and I'll sign us
Yeah.
out?
So I have Kelsey, 40 receiving yards each half under game specials. Plus 250 for 40 each half. 2 for 20 NBA, Anthony Edwards of the Timberwolves and Domantas Sabonis of the Kings each score 20, plus 111 on FanDuel. And then the Wendy's 4 for 4, Cade Cunningham of the Pistons, 4 assists, Drew Holiday, Celtics, 4 rebounds, Daniel Gafford, Wizards, 4 rebounds, and Sengun from the Rockets, 4 assists. That's close to even money on FanDuel.
Awesome. Love it. I'm going to go with my plays. I'm going to recap them real quick. I'm going to start with the parlay for the boosted parlay for the football game because it gives people a chance to really listen to it and see it. I went with DeAndre Swift, 50 plus rushing yards, Patrick Mahomes, 25 plus rushing yards, AJ Brown, 6 plus receptions, and Eagles plus 10.5. For the boost, if you're going to use it, it has to be plus 400 or better. So I would tease the spread down to say 8.5 if it is not 400 still, just because I think the props are really solid. So I would tease it down to 7.5 if you have to. And then Nick and I'm gonna force him to join me on this, but we're gonna sprinkle this a 4-leg parlay from the NBA slate on the spots we liked. Jason Tatum 25 plus points, Domantas Sabonis 12 plus rebounds, Cade Cunningham 6 plus assists, and Kyle Kuzma, who is definitely scoring 20 according to our very own Nick Larson. That is a 4-leg parlay. Is plus 535 on FanDuel. I'll check the odds on other books later. And then finally, my straights. I took Jason Tatum over 26.5 points, and I took DeAndre Swift over 77.5 rushing yards / receiving yards, the combo line there on FanDuel. And honestly, we went almost a whole hour for not having a lot of plays, but we talked about a lot of angles, a lot of things we saw on the slate. And I appreciate Nick being here. I appreciate Tone Stamp, our producer. Let's hope that Swift gets a 74-yard run to start the game, falls down on the 1 yard line. Jalen Hurts first touchdown at plus 800. That would be the ideal start of the game for
Not
me.
asking for
So
too much.
I'm not asking for too much. I don't ask for much, but I appreciate
No.
Nick, and we'll see you guys next week. Every single week on at 5 p.m. on Mondays. We enjoy the show. And we enjoy you guys coming out here and watching it. So we'll see you guys next week.